It's going great, Larry. It was such an electric weekend in Austin at F1 this week. Coda was rocking, and I'm so excited to talk about Formula One with you today. Yeah, both McLarens came into this week with somewhat comfortable lead over Max Verstappen, but this weekend was a sprint weekend, which means there were extra points up for grabs. And that's where everything went wrong for Piastri and Norris. They had a solid sprint qualifying on Friday, placing themselves second and third on the grid for the race on Saturday. However, on turn 1, disaster struck. Kick Sauber driver Kevin Magnussen collided with Oscar Piastri on the chaotic corner, pushing the Australian right into his teammate. The end result was both cars getting knocked out of the race. Meanwhile, title rival Max Verstappen breezed his way to a P1 finish, picking up 8 crucial points on both McLaren drivers. Later that day, drivers suited up again for Grand Prix qualifying, and it was crucial for Norris and Piastri that they recovered from the disaster earlier. But it was not to be. Max Verstappen once again showed off his electric pace, qualifying P1 by almost 0.3 of a second over P2. Norris was able to crawl his way to the front row with a solid lap, but Piastri continued to struggle in his car, settling for a disastrous P6. The struggles continued during the race, where Piastri could only climb to 5th place by race end. And Norris, instead of fighting for first with Verstappen, ended up in a race-long fight with Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc for 2nd place. This weekend solidified one thing. Max Verstappen is coming for his 5th straight World Drivers' Championship, and he definitely has the McLaren team shaking in its boots as he's cut the gap from him and Piastri to just 40 points. Yeah, the team that surprised me the most this weekend was the famous Team Ferrari. The Italian team hadn't had one of its drivers finish on the podium since late July in Belgium, and there weren't any signs that this week would be the end of that drought. And the struggles continued to open the week on Friday when drivers Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc finished P8 and P10 in sprint qualifying. However, everything changed on turn 1 of the sprint race when the two McLarens collided. The chaos on the track allowed the Ferraris to jump up to 4th and 5th place, and they didn't look back the rest of the race. The team found race pace out of nowhere, and it held on to it the rest of the weekend. Later on Saturday, Leclerc had a terrific qualifying, just missing out on the front row in P3. Then on race day, Ferrari shocked the rest of the grid by starting Leclerc on soft compound tires. The strategy was a masterstroke from the team, as Leclerc was able to battle Norris all 56 laps of the race. He eventually lost out to Norris, but a podium was a huge result for Ferrari and Leclerc. And Leclerc said in an interview that he was very surprised at the team's performance this weekend, but very happy nonetheless. It's also worth mentioning that the cool, calm, and collected Lewis Hamilton stayed out of trouble all race, finishing 4th. Ferrari is out of contention for the team and drivers' championship this season, but maybe this is the start of some much-needed momentum heading into a crucial 2026 season for the team. Well, Larry, if there's anything I've learned watching Max Verstappen race over the year, it's that you never count out the Dutchman. There's a reason he's won 4 straight World Drivers' Championships. It's because he's the best driver on the Formula One grid by far, and he can win with any car you give him. Now what's scary for both Piastri and Norris is that the Red Bull team has clearly found something over the last few races. Verstappen has now won 3 of the last 4 Grand Prix, and this one was never in doubt. Verstappen was miles faster than any other racer this weekend, and when you give Verstappen a good car, it's scary hours for everyone else on the track. Now a seemingly insurmountable gap of 102 points between him and first place is all the way down to just 40 points. For reference, the winner of a race gets 25 points, while second place gains 17. Now Formula One enters the home stretch with just 5 races to go. In theory, it should be enough time for McLaren to stabilize and see out the championship for one of his drivers, but as Verstappen has proved, he can make up 40 points in next to no time. And Max has one thing both Piastri and Norris don't: experience. He knows how to win championships, he knows how to handle the pressure, and he knows how to win in Abu Dhabi. This will be Piastri's first title challenge, and Norris has a history of faltering in the biggest of moments. I do believe that McLaren will have his car ready for the final 5 races, but will its drivers be ready to hold their ground against Max Verstappen and his massive aura? I'm not so sure. I think there's a real possibility that the championship could be decided at the final stop in Abu Dhabi, and that should make all Formula One fans very excited.